Howdy friends, Hannah here per usual, and today we are going to talk about engagement.
Hi, I'm here for the YNAB video.
I'm sorry, the what?
YNAB video, right? That's what this is? That's why we're here?
I think you're here for the wrong video.
What video is this?
This is the You Need a Budget video about engagement. YNAB.
Oh, okay.
This week on Heard It From Hannah, we have our first ever live guest. This is...
Mac, Hannah's fiancé.
So this week we're gonna talk about engagement.
Yeah, specifically how I budgeted for this chunker right here.
What did you want to say next?
Oh, just that I'm like really nervous to be here.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting a deepening respect for you and your line of work.
Thank you. So how are you feeling about being in today's video?
Well, I thought I was gonna be really excited. Turns out I'm really nervous and don't know what to do with my hands.
So let's just encourage him, you guys, all right? Quick rundown on how our story. We worked at a summer camp back in 2014. I was a cabin leader and he was...
Part of the hype crew, which is just the goofball on stage in front of everyone.
the lead extrovert of the camp.
Which is ironic because I'm actually pretty introverted.
Yeah. So we dated back then. We were 20?
19 or 20. We dated for 5 months, broke up, tried dating again, and broke up again. August of 2020 rolls around.
What better time than a pandemic to
Slide
reconnect?
into someone's DMs.
Well, oh.
But I was the one who ended up asking her out to coffee.
And it's all history from there? Is that what they say? From there, it's all history, right?
Something like that. I don't think that's it, but you're close. But I
And
also,
the rest is history.
Oh, there it is.
That's what it is.
So for today's video, we are not experts. We are only here because we just went through the process.
Yeah.
So these are our opinions.
But before we get started, I need to plug my laptop in so we can make this video. That looks classy.
It does.
So first thing we want to talk about before diving into numbers or budgeting or any of that is just the importance of identifying your priorities, and those look different for everyone. So there may be the couple that really wants to invest a lot into their wedding or into the ring, while other couples may say, hey, it's really important for us to get our house, we need to save up for a down payment, or we want to pay off all of our debt. So no matter what your budget is, identify your priorities first.
And a ring is a very ambiguous expense. They can be anywhere from $10 for, I guess an expensive ring pop is $10. Or
Arguably, you could spend
far more than $10,000.
hundreds of thousands. But we hope that what we learned through the process applies to any situation, no matter the budget you have for a ring. So our game plan today is to walk through 6 general steps that Mac followed in his journey to save for this bad boy. So what was the first step that you took in budgeting for a ring?
So the first thing that I did was I got a month ahead in my budget, which was...
If you're dating a YNAB, you gotta do that.
And this was important for me because of my own personal stress. I also wanted to prioritize being financially grounded personally before I saved up for this big expense. After I got a month ahead, I put 100% of the rest of my earnings for that current month towards the ring and nothing else that I was trying to save for.
What's also cool about that is, I mean, as independent single people, all of our money is ours. We spend it however we want, and that was kind of the first thing where you're learning, there's another person in my life now, not all my money will be mine anymore.
This sets you up for success to be financially grounded with someone else as well. After I got a month ahead, my next step was I determined for myself what I was willing to spend on the ring and when I wanted to get there by.
So when did you want to have all that money saved by, Mac?
By the end of 2021.
And when did you propose, Mac?
4 months into 2021.
So now we're talking about reprioritizing. You had a lot more money to save a lot sooner than you were planning. So what changes did you make to make that happen?
So my highest priority was buying the ring and getting engaged to you, even though I didn't have all the money that I wanted to saved yet. It made me become more rigid with my budget, which means I need to be more disciplined in not eating out, which you suffered the consequences of, sadly.
I did.
And not spending any other extra cash, like driving to work, not stopping at Starbucks to get a coffee or whatever.
Do you do that?
Sometimes. Like once in a blue moon.
I'm engaged to a Starbucks guy.
It's just on the way. The app is so easy. That means that I had to have self-discipline, that I chose your ring and my fiancé over a shake.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
Yeah, I didn't really have a choice considering that I bought the ring 8 months sooner than I originally intended. Honestly, after a little while of being disciplined with my spending, it actually got easier once I was really set on my top priority, which was marrying my girlfriend. All the other expenses became easy to choose no.
So not only did you become very much a stickler with following your budget, but
I also became very much a stickler in my savings, and I started saving pretty aggressively, which for me looked like moving out of my apartment and moving back into my parents' house, which they were gracious enough to let me live there rent-free.
Which is amazing.
I saved a lot of money by doing that, even though I know that not everyone has that option. Other options that I could have taken was get a side job as like a grocery deliverer, or
Which you
maybe
have.
you have an arts and crafts, you can start an Etsy or something like that. But I actually was a Uber driver for a little while, which brought in significant amount of money.
You trained lifeguards and helped out at a camp. Another thing that you told me you did was just budget less to your spending categories so you could budget more to your savings categories.
Exactly. You have $100 a month in your dining out category. You could cut that down to $75 and have an extra $25 every month to put towards.
Or if you really want to get engaged, cut it all together.
Cut it all together.
So Mac was doing an amazing job. He identified his priorities. He limited his spending so he could send more to savings. We have that conversation and we decide to go look at rings to see, what I might want. And then we decide that instead of getting engaged at the end of 2021, how about 8 months sooner? So what did that look like for you in your budgeting process?
So we've talked about a lot of reprioritizing, and I had to roll with the punches along the way.
A little bit.
And I had to continue to roll with the punches after we started actually looking at rings. So Hannah, what was the obstacle that we ran into?
We went a little over budget, all right?
Just a little.
Well, listen, when you are going to be wearing a piece of jewelry for the rest of your life, you do want to make sure that your fiancé loves what she has, because it'll be on her finger for forever.
It's true. We looked at a lot of rings that were in the budget.
Yeah.
But then she saw this one and tried it on, and she fell in love with it. I knew that I did not want to say no since she found the ring that she really loved, which ended up being okay. It wasn't an immediate decision to say, okay, yes, I'm willing to spend this extra money. Even though it wasn't a ton of money, it still affected the budget. So by this time, because of my aggressive savings, I'd already had about 80% of the money that I wanted to spend for the ring anyway. And after looking at the big picture, examining my budget, and I also looked at the payment plans that were offered to me, I was able to determine that I could still pay it off in a comfortable amount of time without suffering any big blows to the budget that I couldn't handle.
You don't want to utilize a payment plan if you don't have anywhere near the amount of money you need, because we never want to spend money that we just don't have. Because we had 80% of the funds that we needed to make this purchase, we felt comfortable utilizing the payment plan, and we wouldn't even need anywhere near 36 months, because if he keeps saving at the rate that he has been, we'll just need a few months to wrap up this purchase, and then we'll be good to go. Plus, we're budgeting for it.
Yeah, we know where our money's going.
Yeah.
So we came in over budget,
Oh, sorry.
but a lot of people might be lucky enough to come in under budget,
Yeah.
which is great for them.
Kudos to you.
Because then that means that they have all this money that they can reallocate to other categories.
Yeah.
Other top priorities, which might be their wedding, maybe it's a down payment for a house, maybe it's debt. Another option that's not talked about enough, that's a very viable option for you. If you don't want to go in debt, which we don't recommend that you do, just to get the ring that you want, and you don't want to postpone getting engaged because you're in love, you could also get a placeholder ring instead, and then at a later date, when you're able to, you can get the ring that you want.
My sister actually wears an $8 wedding band from CVS.
And my friend proposed with a cat because he couldn't afford the ring that she wanted. But now she has the ring that she wanted.
Oh my gosh, he did. That was Matt.
It was.
I thought when you wrote that in the script, that was just you being a ding-dong.
No.
That was real.
That's real.
If that were a dog, I might take you up on it.
I'll stick with the ring.
Okay. And what is the final and 6th step of your process?
I gave you the ring. You just gotta propose.
That's the final step?
And sometimes the most nerve-wracking.
Yeah, but just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. So there you have it. That is Mac's 6 steps to how he saved for an engagement ring. Do you have any bonus tips, parting wisdom that you want to share?
I do have one. And
Okay.
that is that I wish I would have started saving earlier. Even as a single guy.
Yeah.
If I started saving 5 years ago when I knew that I wanted to get married one day, $20 or $30 a month adds up a lot over time.
It does. I mean, perfect example of a true expense, right? At YNAB, we're super huge on saving for those expenses you know are coming down the road. You might not know when it's gonna happen or how much it's gonna cost. I mean, we sure didn't, but you know one day it's gonna happen. And so start
Throwing money at it now.
throwing money at it now. Thanks, babe.
You're welcome.
But we hope you guys have an amazing engagement and wedding planning season. And as always, happy budgeting.
Cheers.
We're rolling. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. Hi. How are you? You like jazz?
Okay.
I don't know how to introduce myself. I've only had
Yeah.
my name for 27 years.
Okay.
I realized halfway through you talking that I was not actively listening. So I'm
Oh,
sorry.
that's fine. What were you doing?
I was just staring at you. My friend proposed with a cat. We're dying inside.
All right, ready.
Yeah.
I'm asking myself.
Oh, okay.
Okay.